Today we're going to talk about 3 reasons why you should consider relocating for work. Coming up. Hi everyone, this is Ernesto from AttaBoyCowBoy, and on this channel we give you health and wealth tips to help you be more successful. Now today I'm bringing you this video from Liberal, Kansas. I'm literally in the middle of the United States, in the heartland of the United States. I'm here visiting one of my cousins, and something became really obvious to me while I was here. I met a lot of people that are becoming really successful here economically, and I wanted to share that with some people that I know at home and other places that are looking for new opportunities. I know wherever it is you live, it's difficult to think about packing up your stuff and moving. It can be expensive to move, and it can be stressful to go to a new environment. It's called the fear of the unknown. That's scary for a lot of people. So a lot of times when I'm talking to people in Los Angeles, I'm talking to patients, I'm talking to colleagues or friends, they're telling me their prospects are not going real well. They're like, there's really good jobs, and then there's a lot of really not so good jobs, don't pay very well. And they're kind of stuck in this minimum wage service industry where they would like to do a lot more. They want to get a house, they want to go traveling, they want to do a lot of these things, and they're telling me they just don't see how they're going to do that living in a big city like Los Angeles, because they don't have the skills or they don't have the education to maybe get some of those jobs that pay a lot more money, that allow you to have more economic freedom. So then I come here to visit my cousin in Kansas, and I have family spread out all over the United States, even the Hawaiian Islands. So when I meet up with them, I like to learn about their life and how things are going and how everything is working out for them economically. Again, in school I studied economics, so I'm very curious about the macro and microeconomic factors of how people are surviving in different cities. So here I arrive in Kansas, and I came up with my top 3 reasons why you should consider moving. Let me go over number 1. Reason number 1 is experiences. Now, wherever you live, like myself, I've always lived in Los Angeles. It would be kind of cool to get up and move to a new city, meet a whole different type of people, work in different things, live in a new environment, get to know a different part of the world, and have a new life experience. Remember, we're all gonna die. Your life is not infinite. So you're here to enjoy yourself and learn new things and have new experiences. So moving to a new place can give you that new experience. I'm gonna tell you specifically about my cousin here, Maria. She moved here to Kansas, and she was looking for opportunities. So right away, she started working in the oil fields, drilling holes, drilling oil wells. Then she started working in fracking. Then she worked as a truck driver. And then she started selling real estate, and now she's like a real estate manager. And she's had a whole different life experience of what she would have had if she would have stayed in the other cities where she was living at. Reason number 2, better career prospects. Now, this is really important. If you're stuck somewhere and you're not happy with the quality of the work or the quality of life that you have, consider relocating. Remember, there's demand and supply. Some places there's a lot of demand for people. They have a lot of labor shortages, but there aren't enough people. This is a place that's like that. I was talking to my cousin, and she's telling me about the fracking jobs, which she doesn't do anymore. But her son and some of my other cousins, they work in fracking. Now, when you look at it, they only pay about $15 to $20 an hour generally for starting jobs. The thing is that they work up to 36-hour shifts. They work continuously. They actually get deployed out to the fields, and they can work up to 2 months, my cousin told me. And they're getting paid overtime all the time they're out. So my cousin said even the lowest paying person gets over $100,000 a year working out fracking, which is helping drill oil wells and pulling up natural gas and petroleum to use for our cars and all the other stuff. There's a lot of fracking going on in the United States, and they're always in places where people don't really live, like North Dakota. North Dakota is another place where a lot of my friends have went to that are doctors and therapists and nurses, and they're telling me they're getting paid as much as 5 times the normal income they were making in Los Angeles, just because there's no one in North Dakota, especially where the oil wells are. They're out in the middle of nowhere. There aren't people over there, and they really need these people to work so they can pull up the oil. In particular, here in Kansas, there's fracking. They're installing wind turbines everywhere, solar panels. They have a huge meat packing industry here. I'd say that's probably the largest industry. Everywhere I drove here, they had hog farms, cattle farms, and there's slaughterhouses, packing houses. They're shipping meat products everywhere within the United States and even to other countries. In fact, my cousin's husband lives here. He's a truck driver, and he's making about $20,000 a month, working 3 or 4 days a week, driving a big rig, delivering meat. He's telling me that he's booked and he has to refuse work. There's so much work. They're delivering pork bellies, livers, kidneys, all sorts of different animal parts they use for people and for pets and for foreign markets, etc. And he's just busy, and there aren't enough truck drivers, so he gets paid about $5,000 a week to work 3 or 4 days a week. Now, just to put that into perspective to you about how much money that is, that's basically about $260,000 a year. Plus, they have this beautiful home. It's a huge lot. I'd say it's probably about a half acre. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, 2 stories. Everything is brand new. It has wood fixtures. It's really, really nice. It's a beautiful house. And they bought it just a few months ago for $175,000. So basically, my cousin's husband makes enough to pay it off in about 8 or 9 months. Now, this same house in Los Angeles, in a mediocre neighborhood, would easily be over $1 million. So you can see that not only are the jobs paying a lot of money, your price purchasing parity, which means what you can actually buy with your money, goes a lot further here. You can buy a lot. You can buy properties. You can go on, do a lot of awesome things here that you may not be able to do in the city. One of my other cousins I met this morning, he's an engineer. He ended up moving over here and working as a truck driver because he's making about 20 grand a month. He said as an engineer, he was only making about $80,000. He was living in a big city, and most of his money was just going to rent and paying a car payment. He basically just had a mediocre lifestyle, he said. He moved here and basically he's loaded. He has a nice place to stay. He's saving up a lot of money. He's saving up for other opportunities that he wants to do further down the line. Now, again, this doesn't have to be a permanent solution for you. My friend Barry, he went to medical school. He's a gastroenterologist. He got out of school. He goes, dude, I owe a lot of money. He told me he owed about $600,000. So he left LA. He went to Kentucky, to a small town, and he said basically he got paid 3 times as much as he would have got paid in LA working as a gastroenterologist. He paid off all of his student loans, came back with a lot of money, and bought himself a great big house in LA, and he's good. He got rid of all his debt. He has a beautiful house, and he's good. So that's another thing you might want to consider, is maybe even a short-term trip to one of these places to make some income and get back to where you live so you can live the life that you want to live. Now, when I was at college, every summer I would see the Alaskan salmon canneries advertising for students, and they paid up to $10,000 a month to work in the canneries. Now, in those days, we were getting paid $4.25 an hour minimum wage, so I would get about $100 a week when I worked at my job. So $10,000 a month was a fortune. It's probably more than I made almost in the whole year. So I really wanted to do it, but I had something else going on. I was going to school, and that was my long-term plan. So again, it depends on what your long-term plans are. But if you don't have a plan, you're not making a lot of money, and you're not satisfied with the quality of life you have, then consider moving somewhere. Somewhere like Kansas. I have family in Iowa. There's New Mexico. My cousins moved to New Mexico, Hobbs, New Mexico. And there's oil fracking everywhere, but there isn't anywhere for the workers to live. So my cousins started buying used trailers from New Orleans that were used during the Katrina hurricane. She brought them to New Mexico and she rents them out. They're so expensive that people pay about $1,000 per bed to sleep in a shared trailer just because there's absolutely nowhere else to stay. So she's making a fortune on it. So again, you just have to be flexible. Be willing to go somewhere where there might be other opportunities for you to make your life better and reach some of the goals you might have in your life. And the third benefit is better community. So my cousin was telling me that he lived in a bad neighborhood in LA. He wasn't happy. There was a lot of crime. It was really congested. It was loud. It was noisy. He moved over here. He says all his neighbors are super cool. Everybody knows each other. He never locks his doors. He doesn't even lock his car. When we went out for a drive, we walked out to the driveway. The car was unlocked. I thought, wow, that's really cool. I like that. So it's a better community. It has a better place for him to live. It's quiet. It's easier on your sensory systems. You can live more in peace. And he doesn't particularly have children, but if you have children, it's a nice place to have your children grow up so they're not exposed to as much crime and other things that may have a negative influence on them. So again, if you're flexible and you're looking for success, consider relocating somewhere where there's a need for you. Sometimes, no matter who you are, even if you don't have any particular skills, they just need a warm body. They're willing to train you to do stuff just so you can help fill a void somewhere. So again, thank you for listening. And from Liberal, Kansas, this is AttaBoy Cowboy. Thank you.